So quiz show.
Let me
How many days?
Let me get off my phone.
How many days was
Let
that?
me get off my phone. Okay.
How'd you get the gig? First of all.
Casting director. So
94.
this casting director knew me.
Not to date you.
Casting, and actually it was the first gig I did for them, but it was like a week. We're rolling, right?
Yeah.
It was a week. It was a week, and
Henry Rollins, Rolling Stone.
You're not gonna believe this, Griff. The first day I'm working on Quiz Show, I'm playing a reporter, and Robert Redford comes up to the table to talk to us about being reporters and giving us a note, like giving us some insight, comparing it to DC, modern DC, like when the director, and not only a director, but like an icon, the icon of the 70s, when Robert Redford is coming up to you on your first day on set in the congressional hearing room, it was just, and then there's guest appearance by Marty Scorsese and Hank Azaria's in it, Ray Fiennes.
What did Redford tell you?
He just talked about us being reporters and was just giving us some insight, and I just thought,
Did it help your performance?
it helped being focused, and it was just, I think I was more like taken back by the fact that he came up to us.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I love Redford like 2,000 times more now than then. I think I would have, if it was now, I might have fainted. But what you don't know, Griff, is that I wrote a letter to Robert Redford and he wrote me back. You don't know about this.
Afterwards.
I wrote him a letter while
That's why we're
working
here.
on the film.
Uh-huh.
I rewatched A River Runs Through It and wrote my critical analysis of that movie, my praising critical analysis, just like talking about,
How
different
critical?
scenes.
Were you critical?
No, I was praising, but I broke things down, like speeches and lines and everything, and the whole thing about Tom Skerritt loving without complete understanding. But Robert Redford wrote me back. Robert Redford wrote me a letter back, and I gave it to his assistant, which happened to be his daughter at the time. Well, still his daughter. I didn't know it was his daughter. Are we still rolling?
I'm listening.
And what happened is, he writes me a letter back on his letterhead. My mother opened it first. She was so excited. And it said, "Your letter is full of sensitivity and thought, beautifully articulated. I could not receive a better reward for my efforts. Thank you. Signed, Robert Redford."
Wow.
And that's like one of the highlights of my life, really.
Wow.
And then he plugged me in the movie. He gave me 2 or 3 close-ups. I have 2 or 3 close-ups at the end of Quiz Show
Because
with
of
Ray Fiennes, Rob Morrow,
Who plugged in? Redford
John
did?
Turturro. Redford directed.
Oh, he
and you
directed,
see
I
me,
see.
and then you see Ray Fiennes, and you see me, and you see Rob Morrow, you see me, you see Marissa Tomei and John Turturro. I'm plugged in with all those actors, and when I went to see Ray,
So that letter helped you get those shots in there.
yeah,
That
when I
was
went to
savvy
see Ray
move. That was a
Fiennes
show
in
business
Hamlet,
move.
and I saw him after. I
Yeah.
saw him after his Broadway show.
Yeah.
I said to Ray Fiennes, I said, I worked with you on Quiz Show, and everything stopped around us. And Ray looked at me and he said,
Where was that? At Whole Foods?
that was Broadway. That was a Broadway show, and I went up to Ray Fiennes
Broadway
after.
Chris.
And,
You were in
and-
the show.
Well, I went to see him in Hamlet on Broadway, and I went up to him after.
You
and
got
everything
backstage.
Stopped, well, outside.
Oh,
outside.
okay. He
But
came
everything
out.
stopped around us,
Wow.
and I said to Ray Fiennes, I worked with you on Quiz Show. And you know what he said?
Wow.
He looked at me and he said, "I remember." And then I ran into Rob Morrow in Central Park.
It's a good line.
All right, I'm out of here, guys.
Speaking of big stars, there he is. Yes, sir.
And I bumped into Rob Morrow in Central Park, and I said, "I worked with you on Quiz Show." And you know what Rob Morrow said? The same thing Ray Fiennes said to me. "I remember."
Wow, you're a memorable guy, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Look at that cloud. I'm gonna take
Yeah,
a
right.
photo.
Majestic, huh?
Yeah, it's majestic.
Like Redford.
Yes.
Well, how many days on Quiz Show were you there?
It was like a week. It was a week.
Good times?
Yeah, it was good. It's wild getting close-ups in a final scene of a movie like Quiz Show when they're in the congressional hearing scene.
Yeah.
It's very
Intense.
It's amazing.
Pressure's on, like stepping up to the batter's box of the World Series.
Yeah, exactly.
Scorsese was there?
Scorsese was a guest star in that.
Wow.
Yeah. Here I am going to take a photo of this.
As you
beautiful,
should.
wow.
As you should, Doctor. Earth, many good views. Good, good, good.
Gorgeous.